Okay, so same day, March 25th, 2020. It's 10:30 at night, people. As you can see, so what I'm going to do tomorrow is I'm going to make another batch and bring up this jar a little bigger, okay? And then I'm going to end up rejarring it after it's fermented, and then I'm going to put them in the fridge downstairs, right, in Auntie Chemay's fridge. And I'll use them as I need them. Okay, people, so it's the next day now, what? March 26, 2020. People are still sick. People are sick, man. So anyway, I'm stuck in the house right now, plus it's freezing cold outside. So, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to walk you through my day. I have a choice. I can sit down and type, or I can continue working with food. At this point, people, I am just going to continue to work with food. Now, I went to my local corner store over here, and, you know, nice Korean people, right? So, what he did today is he gave me a whole box full of matches for free. Isn't that nice? Right? Gave them to me. So, if I need matches, I've got matches. So, that goes into, what is it called? You know, prep, right? Food storage prep. So, in the event of a real disaster, we've got matches. In other words, like if I have to use my chimney or something, I gotta light a fire, right? I have matches. And then, thank the good old Lord, he had dish soap. And I like Palmolive. I really do. Palmolive is my favorite dish soap of all times. And Dawn, the Blue Dawn, if you want to wash the animals for fleas. So anyway, I got 4 of those. $1 extra per, because he $3.99. You go to the, you know, food stores or whatever, you can normally get them for $2.99. But I like supporting this little corner store. You know, that's why he gave me these boxes, because he says you always come and spend lots of money in my little store. And I say, yeah, well, because I try and support your business, right? Because, you know, that's just the way it is. Like, I just went the other day and I bought these big potatoes, $1 each, to make French fries, which I should probably be doing pretty soon. Not French fries. I'm going to try and make potato chips with them. Anyway, it was $1 potato. I bought them just to support the business people, right? And then, like, throughout the years, right, you know, I've been going in and out of that store for the last 5 years, right? And, you know, I buy things. I'll spend like $100 and some odd per shop just to support his business, right? And so, anyway, he gave me a box of free matches today. He actually gave me a little lighter and some candy canes. So, I'm good for soap now in terms of, you know, for the next few months. Plus, I've got that other stuff, that powder stuff, in the event of an emergency. Now, I just wanted to make reference to Sassy Antique here. I don't know if she got confused or not, but when I was making that laundry soap, I didn't put peppers into the powder. What it is, it's a hand soap for laundry. It's not a hand soap to wash your hands with. It's a bar soap made from glycerin that the Punjabis use. This comes from India, and this is what they use to wash their fabric, right? They wash by hand, whatever their outfits are, and this is what they use. I just shred it up and mix it in to the powder. My nose is starting to run. I'm allergic to shit now, people. That's what working with Morning Glory in this yard for so long has done. A dusty house. Cruddy porch. Coming into contact with molds all the time. That kind of thing. Over the years. So anyway, that's what this is. Okay? Laundry soap. It says right there. Laundry soap. Right? And then I just take a shredder and I shred it up. Then I rub it to break it up. And then I mix it in to my concoction of powders, which is like laundry soap, powdered laundry soap, and a laundry soda, right? And then you can, you know, make your own. But add this in there if you can find it. And it's economical. This block here, I think it was $5. $4 or $5, right, per package. That's a lot of laundry, people. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more of these, plus 2 of that. And now that I'm thinking about it, I think I have some of this tucked away somewhere else because I've used it before, and I highly recommend it. I really do. I highly recommend it. So just to clear that up, I could see how it kind of looked like I was putting in orange peppers into the laundry soap, but no, that's not what it was. It was that kind of stuff. Now, in terms of my celery, you can see how much is there now. Now, I still have a whole stalk plus a half. So whether I just might dehydrate the whole stalk, because I actually have 1 tray left here, which would be perfect for that. And I've just put those peppers that I cut yesterday into the dehydrator because these came out this morning, right? So what I'll probably do is cut that 1 stalk, put them on this tray, add them with the peppers, finish dehydrating those, and then I'm good to go because, you know, at some point I will be going back out, or I'll send Tisha out to go buy maybe another head of cabbage or celery or whatever. This is just in the event that, you know, things should get really, really dire. But before I use these ones, I'm going to go downstairs into my other old food storage. And I've said this before, we're going to get into them and test them out anyway, right? So if I have to make cat food. So if I don't like it, it can always go into cat food, right? In terms of what I've got downstairs. So I will be just putting this into another jar. Now, these jars are great. These jars are great. These are those, what do you call those things? You know, well, that's not this jar, but it's a, what is it called? A spaghetti sauce jar. And these lids fit really, really good on them. Now, I've never used this before, but I might try it now. These are the raisins from last year, remember, in the yard. I have a whole bunch downstairs in Auntie Shemay's room, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to put these into a jar like this, and then I'm going to try and vacuum seal it. Okay? Since my vacuum sealer is out anyway, I hope it works. I think this is the part for it. I don't know. Seems to be something missing here. I'm missing a part. So anyway, I'll figure it out. Maybe this is not the part. There seems to be something missing. I don't know how that would work. Anyway, if I can't do that, it will just go in a jar, and then, you know, I'm good to go. So we're working on that. That's coming to an end here pretty soon. And you know, these little, and the reason I'm showing you this is because these little things do begin to add up, and it builds in that food security. You know, regardless of whether you're one person and you want to have food security in your house for yourself and save a little bit of money, or whether you're, you know, you have a family. So, because I like to support my local convenience store, every now and then, I bought 10 lemons, right? Because somebody suggested I should start, you know, drinking lemon and ginger. Right? My nose is running, people. I could be getting sick. Anyway, hold on a minute. Okay. Anyway, my immune system is like very low right now. But, you know. So, anyway, as I was saying, because I like to support his store, right, when I can, you know, I buy a little extra things sometimes, right? And, now I already have some of these lemons frozen in the deep freeze somewhere. Because I did this once before, I'm pretty sure. Right? But what I'm going to do, because these are nice lemons, they were $1 each, a little expensive, but that's okay. You know, he gave me a box of candy canes, can you see? And the matches. For free. So it kind of compensated for that. But I would have bought them anyway. Right? In part because I'll try ginger with lemon. Whatever. Anyway. But I wanted to peel. Because I'm going to make... This is where these little things start to add up. Now I have another jar full somewhere else in the house. But that's what I'm going to make with these rinds, which are really, really nice. And then I still have a couple of oranges from the last time I did a video talking when I did the oranges that I cooked, right? And this one here, you know, it's okay. And then I do have those peels, right? You can see. So I'll cook those up, go through them, cook them up as well. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get those all ready. And then the lemon, after I peel them, I'm just going to freeze them and then use them that way, I guess. Because I want the peel. Because that's where your really high concentration of vitamin C is. And like I said, with the economy crashing, but that underground economy flourishing, people, it's flourishing, trust me. On multiple levels, right? It's going to be us little people that are going to really struggle. So, you know, use every bit of the lemon, even if you have to freeze the lemon to get the rind, to make the lemon candy rind, which will be extremely high in vitamin C. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make that today, because you have to boil them 3 times, and then after you boil them, you put them in a sugar solution, and then you boil down the sugar solution, right? And then you end up dehydrating them, and then they last forever. Again, support your local, right? Your local convenience store. So I just bought that. You can't find them anywhere. So I have this on hand. Although I'm going to be having to make, what is it called? Toilet paper within a week. If nobody can find any to buy. Okay? You see, my nose is starting to run again. So I must be getting sick, because it hasn't stopped. So, anyway, I'm using those eye drops too, right? That doesn't help me. So, and I came back in from outside, and it's really cold outside right now. I walked. So that could be it. So, anyway, I'm going to have to make toilet paper within the week, in between everything else that I do in a day. Right? But I bought those just to have on hand, just in case, for whatever reason. Right? And then, yeah. So I'm good for the dish soap now. And then I've got the beets downstairs, people. So I'm going to start with these first. And then I'm going to put the lemons into the bags, and I'll put them in the Auntie Chemet's freezer downstairs. because I should have lemon already in the freezer. I bought these specifically for the rind. Okay? And being that I'm going to cook that up, I'm just going to cook up these oranges at their rinds together at the same time. And I'm just going to make a big batch of this lemon orange candy rind in my dehydrator since it's out. And then after this is all starting to cook and everything, then I'll go downstairs and I'll grab the beets. And you'll see how beautiful these beets are. And those beets will probably take up a fair amount of my time today. But once they're processed, you know, I'm good to go. I'm debating whether I should freeze them. I kind of wanted to can them. That's the thing. And I kind of wanted to can them kind of shredded, you know, I just kind of wanted to can them. So I'm not too sure, you know, I'll probably just cook them up and freeze them and good to go, because this burner is fickle. I tried to phone the appliance dude, and he's not picking up his phone. So, and as for this cabbage, this is doing really, really well. So before I would disturb that, I'm not going to disturb that, people. You can see everything is under the liquid. You have to have this under the liquid, right? Otherwise it's going to grow mold. So this is really, I shouldn't disturb this and just let it sit like this for a few days. And I'm going to have really nice sauerkraut that I'm going to put in to smaller jars like those downstairs, like those ones there. Only this time I'm going to sterilize the jars, right? Because I just want them sterilized so that when I transfer the food into those jars and then put them into the fridge downstairs in Auntie Chemet's room to the furthest part of the back of the fridge, they'll sit there for months, and it's so good, right? So good. And then I may start another cabbage so that when I put them into jars and get them ready for the fridge, to kind of like, I'm doing like, that will be, you know, I can get like maybe 8 jars out of it. So technically you could be looking at like anywhere between 8 to 16 meals with that, depending on what you do with it, right? So I'm feeling pretty good about that. I mean, I'm not going to worry, people. Look, I'm not going to worry about Auntie Chemet's lawsuit, because first of all, I shouldn't have to be even filing a lawsuit. Okay, the first 2 that I filed should have been dealt with, right? And, you know, people can't be going around injuring you and your family. And, you know, a government makes it so that you don't qualify for any kind of legal aid to be able to protect yourself. So, just with that said, I've got my $200 to file. I'll show you. I got $200. I'm putting it in an envelope so that when I go to the courthouse, right, I am gonna pay cash, so they can't fuck me around, you know, saying, oh, 20 pages is too much, it won't go through the system, you have to take it home and only type out 5. Fuck that shit. No, here's $200. I'm filing it as is. And then, you know, let the signatures keep piling up. Last time I checked, we're at 1,098 signatures. Yay! That's more than enough attention to get the judge's attention, right? The Attorney General, the Solicitor Attorney General, and the numbers are still climbing up. So, right now though, it's this. And then tomorrow, hopefully it won't be too cold, and I'll be outside. But as you can see, I'm kind of worn out. And after today, by the time I'm done with these beets, and it's creeping on 8, 9 o'clock at night, because it's going to be an all-dayer, because it's 12 now. It's 12 o'clock now, 10 after 12, right? It's going to be an all-dayer with this stuff, but at the end of the day, I'll be good to go. All right.
Yeah, there, doctors. Just wondering, you're mentioning that 25% of our new cases are from community spread. Is that discouraging? Does that mean that the people who have returned from travel aren't abiding by the rules?
Well, actually, just to be clear, it was 25% of the cases that have been investigated by public health. So that's roughly 60% of the cases. So it's 25% of 60%, which I guess off the top of my head is 15%. Anyway, and I think this is of concern. To me, it tells me that within the capabilities.
If you notice, you don't get to see
if you are someone that is trying to start a Shopify dropshipping business or
nobody's allowed to talk.
An Amazon FBA business,
they're not showing you what's going on.
How landlords planned to help tenants who may have lost their job or lost their income due to the recent turmoil, and at the same time have rent payments that are due soon, perhaps April the 1st in many cases. Many of those companies pledged to help tenants who needed it. A number of those companies had detailed policies already in place to assist tenants whose income had been diminished by the health crisis. But far too many had not and have not yet communicated anything to reassure anxious tenants who in the ordinary course have rent payments due on April the 1st. We have enough anxiety in the city among people who are concerned. They're afraid for reasons related to health and their financial security and their future. We just don't need them to be anxious about other things when these companies, if indeed they do, have the intention to help them, which I'm sure most of these companies actually will. And while the city has no power to direct landlords, I strongly urge all property owners, big and smaller, to find ways to help their tenants who need help, find ways to help them, of course, stay in their homes during these unprecedented times, but also to relieve some of that anxiety that people are feeling about a looming date of April the 1st. I also expect landlords to proactively communicate with their tenants with respect to the policies they either have in place or will have in place as a result of this invitation to do so, and make sure that that information is made available to tenants directly affected by COVID-19. We deferred the payment of utilities.
Confirmed cases are actually quickly isolated within the long-term
You
care
really
homes.
need to listen.
We've also worked with long-term care homes to ensure that
to
there
the
are
propaganda
no visitors that are allowed.
This is
And
the
we also work
harvesting
with them to ensure that
of
staff
the
are
elderly
screened
for their
illness
assets.
when they come into the facility.
Nobody has access
or their shift.
to these elderly
We also ensure
in these
and work with our
multiple
long-term
care
partners,
homes where
to
they're
ensure
being
that those who are
basically
caring for
detained
residents use
people,
personal protective equipment appropriately. And that's
with
both for their own
workers
protection and
that
for the
have
protection of the
limited
residents
patience
themselves.
for a lot of these elderly people,
We continue, unfortunately,
right?
to see
In terms of
COVID-19
taking them to the
cases in our
washroom and that
community
kind of stuff.
that have affected our most vulnerable residents.
All these
And this is
politicians
why
are mainly
we have
going on
worked
about
hard
the
to
elderly.
increase
But
physical
through all
distancing
these things
access.
that we see, right?
I know
in terms
that other
of
jurisdictions
all these health
have needed to
professionals,
use stronger
doctors,
social distancing or
politicians,
physical distancing
right?
measures
Talking
to
and
prevent
talking. We
further
don't
virus
see
spread.
the actual people
Some
themselves.
examples that I know
talking.
of would include in Nova Scotia,
Okay,
where police
unless, of
have the
course,
power
it's
to fine
scripted.
people up to $1,000
If
for not
it's
practicing
scripted,
social
you might get a little, oh, well, I was
In
sick with the
Montreal, they've
coronavirus.
banned group gatherings of 2 or more
And this is how I felt.
and police
And yeah,
are
it's
issuing
really, really serious.
$1,000 fines
So move
for
along and
non-compliance.
listen to the propaganda.
I know that in the city of
Okay, but
Vancouver,
in actually going
businesses
into
are
these
fined
old
up to
folks' homes
$50,000
and
if
asking
customers are not
these
kept
old
at
folks,
least 2
asking these old folks, going into these old folks' homes and actually asking these old folks how they're being treated, how the care is being doled out to them under this so-called crises. I'm telling you, people, they shut the water off on Joan through the IV line and let her shrivel up and die because the doctor said you will be dead in 1 year. She went in December of 2012 and she died in December of 2013. Her IV bag with the saline solution did not move in those 4 or 5 days as I was going back and forth with Uncle John so that he could visit her because she was so sick. On the last day before she died, the only thing she wanted was water, people. Because they shut off the IV, people. Believe half of what you see and none of what you hear. You are not hearing it from ground zero how people are coping with this political fucking crises. Now, I have a cold. My nose is running. You seen that yesterday. I'm being forced to work outside in bad weather, okay? Right? With a heavy hand from city bylaw officers who act like fucking robo-cops, okay? All right? What? You think they're going to feel sorry for me when they roll up on the 19th of April, the day that Cherie so-called had her fourth death documented in her medical files? They're not going to give a fucking shit about the coronavirus. They're not going to give a fucking shit whether I've been sick or not. No, because that's not the political agenda, people. That's why you're not hearing the real stories. Nobody is talking about, oh my God, they locked me in my house. I have no food for my kids. Oh my God, they locked me in my house. I have no freaking toilet paper. I have no laundry soap. I have no dish soap. I have no milk. I have no formula. I have no potatoes. Whatever the hell it is they don't have. You're not hearing it, people. Because they've got you being kissy, huggy, 6 feet away from each other with the new word, social distancing. They've glossed over their draconian legislation that has basically isolated tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of old people in old care facilities and hospitals, isolated from their loved ones. Their loved ones are not allowed to go inside and see them because the environment is contaminated as they're dying. And then these people are just sitting up there saying, oh, well, it was just a virus. It was just an overdose. It was a suicide. Oh, sorry, it was an accident. This woman sat up here and said, well, you know, it's kind of common for old people to die, especially when they have underlying other health problems. So this is nothing that we're not aware of, people. It's just the government has, for whatever reason, is playing psychological warfare on the general public to manipulate them to bring 80% of the population below the poverty line. Well, maybe not 80%, but a good 70%. Under socialism. This is a social, and I'm not very, don't ask me what fascism is, capitalism, and socialism, but if I had to put this on anything, this is a communist, socialist agenda, okay, to pacify the public so they don't fight back as the underground economy is flourishing off the backs of old people who don't have a voice, people. Uncle John's voice was taken away. I'm his voice, people. He told me, fight until you win. Stand up. Fight for your loved ones. They're being locked away like these healthcare facilities. Dirty secret. And a virus is the excuse. Just like the excuse was with Cherie. Oh, it was suicide. She was depressed when she was 17. We will just ignore the fact that we ruined your life when she was 17 because we came in and we ripped it apart and we took out a baby that we should never have done and we didn't care what the fuck happened after the fact because it was all about securing their paychecks, their superannuation life insurance policies, their authority of, well, we're the government, we work for the government. That somehow makes us correct and superior to you. And then when they couldn't fucking use that as an excuse, all of a sudden it became by default an accident. As they're harvesting organs left, right, and center, it's been documented legally as they're doing it illegally, which has been and being documented with Cherie. This is a bad precedent that people are falling for. Okay? Now, yeah, maybe you might be an Eleanor Gilding, just waiting for that money to fall into your lap when dad dies, you know, or your sister. You know, let her die. She's old. She's just a waste of taxpayers' money, even though she's paying to be in that fucking care home through her pension plans. They don't want that. They want the superannuation life insurance policies. They want the big bang bucks. And they're going for it, people. The target group are the old people, namely dying. And we don't know if their IV saline machines are not being shut off on purpose because nobody is there to witness it. Nobody is there to document it. Okay? She may have had a fucking ventilator in her fucking mouth for 9 days, and it never should have been there in the first place. People, think about it.
And your neighbors are depending on you to do the right thing.
Social distancing, that's what she's
I
talking
ask
about.
you now to please continue the very responsible
and she said
action
that if you
of
don't,
staying home.
they're going to start bringing in
Please,
fucking
stay
legislation
home,
to
stay
attack
safe,
your civil
and
liberties.
take care of each other. With that, I'll now turn the microphone over to Chief Peg.
Thank you, Dr. Davila, and good afternoon. Late yesterday afternoon, Public Health Ontario provided information and recommendations with respect to the use of personal protective equipment by first responders in response to COVID-19. I am confident that Public Health Ontario is committed to ensuring that our first responders continue to have the personal protective equipment required in order for them to continue to deliver safe and effective emergency pre-hospital care.
Yeah,
As
right.
recommended, our first
Body
responders in
snatchers.
Toronto will continue to complete patient care risk assessments for each and every emergency medical incident they respond to, as we always have in the past. We
Body
fully support
snatchers.
each of our first responders in completing
Modern
their
day
patient
body
care risk
snatchers.
assessments and in selecting and using the levels of personal protective equipment deemed necessary based on the situation at hand. Further, we both understand and respect that the assessment of risk by pre-hospital emergency care providers must also continue to consider other potential communicable diseases.
It's just a matter of time before he starts threatening you with fines. If you talk to somebody.
City staff and the public that we remain fully committed to delivering effective emergency services and ensuring that our first responders have the tools.
They have to get their money from somewhere, people.
To deliver safe and effective emergency service.
There's two economies.
At present, our personal protective equipment inventory for emergency services remains.
Okay, it's pretty obvious I've caught a little cold here. Well, I kind of told you a few days ago, right? Whatever it was, 4 or 5 days before I started working outside, I woke up with a raspy voice. Well, my nose just constantly keeps running, so that's telling me that this cold that Tisha's had, I may catch it. Or maybe I caught a different cold. I know that my immune system is down, but nobody seems to care about that when it comes to these politicians, right? You know, or their fucking workers, because they're all in the same bandwagon. So anyway, I so want to get a chart, people. I so want to get a chart, because it's so hard for me to explain how I see this whole situation other than, you know, because, you know, it disturbs me because, again, nobody is witnessing what is happening to these elderly. Okay, the workers, you have to remember, a lot of these workers, people, they're coming in off the fucking boat. The majority of them, they can't speak English. A lot of them got bad attitudes because, you know, they're coming in with, well, I'm from Fiji, I'm brown, and we know that white people by nature are the so-called white devil, right, and are racist. I'm not racist, though. I'm the victim to racism, even though I'm coming into a country to work. And a lot of them have bad attitudes, people. They have no problem turning off the fucking water, okay? Go into my videos. I've said it before this happened. It's not something that I just came out of because I'm looking for clicks. Okay? Even though Auntie Joan got on my nerves, she didn't deserve that, people. Okay? So I kind of fight for Auntie Joan if you listen to me. Right? Even after all this time. And what did I just find out in my yard? Her box. Which I washed everything there. And then eventually I'll do something with them with the perks for the fundraiser. But at this point, I'm not too worried about it, right? But, I fight for Auntie Joan even though she irked me. Because what they did to her was wrong, people. What they did to Uncle John was wrong, people. What they were doing to that little old lady when my kids were taking her to the washroom because the workers weren't doing it even though they were getting paid for it was wrong, people. Okay? What they did to that old man and made him stay in that old Yale care center and pay $32 a day for every day that he was there. And by the time we showed up, he'd have been there already for 6 months. Okay? And they weren't releasing him. They were forcing him to sell his house, people. Okay? That was wrong, people. And there are no lawyers in there defending these individuals who have lost their human rights. And this is what gets me riled up. Because I've been fighting for Uncle John for how many years now, people? Right? And, it's just bypassed with a lot of fucking rhetoric. Okay? Because it's a money grab with their life insurance policies. We're in the baby boom stage right now, people. We've got baby boomers for the next 15 years going through the healthcare system, with them having the majority of personal wealth because they came up in the 30s and 40s, right? There was lots and lots of jobs. If you quit a job today, you'd get a job an hour later. That's what Uncle John used to say. Right? And a lot of those jobs, they had their pensions and whatnot, and that's what this is what the public union sector is going after. Okay? And they're using the grunt workers to help them do it. Because when these grunt workers come off the fucking boat and come to Canada, they're not thinking about your well-being. They're thinking about how they can get your fucking house. Okay? Well, the Eleanors, the senior staff, all they're thinking about is, give that, the provincial government gave Eleanor that bone. Uncle John was the bone. Right? And now that she's gotten her bone, she's obligated to play lip service to this shit that's going on right now. Right? In terms of social distancing. Lock up the old people so nobody can see what's going on inside with these care facilities, with these mean-ass fucking immigrant workers from fucking wherever the hell they come from. Does that mean that every immigrant worker is mean? No, but a majority of them are, when you've got a whole bunch of old people sitting in dirty diapers all day long, not being taken to the bathroom, even though the government pays them to do that. And because it's a fucking group mind beehive mentality, right? Plotting and scheming to steal money and property, because that's all those immigrant workers want is the property. Well, the Eleanors want the money. When the government just wants to fill up the fucking care facilities and make those residents pay for it. Because they're paying for it, people. It's just a very, very corrupt system. And now the government has been successful at locking these old people up, isolating them at the mercy of fucking people with bad attitudes, right, for the most part, and burying evidence, destroying evidence, falsifying medical records, turning off machines, whether they're freaking saline machines, ventilator machines, whatever it is. But as soon as those fucking signatures are signed and those pension plans and all this other shit is passed over, that's it. There's no reason to keep those old people around anymore. It's done for them. They're done. And this is why nobody is allowed to witness it. Right? Because it's happening. Right? But they're not going to tell you that. And that's why they're not letting anybody talk and explain how they're feeling or how they're being treated or what's actually really going on in these facilities. Okay? They'll run you out of there faster than you know what hit you, as they're accusing you, as they accuse you of abusing the elderly. Even though you're trying to protect them and rescue them and get them out of fucking prison. Okay? Because once they're locked up into these fucking care homes, that's what it becomes, people. A prison. Go back into my videos. I said it then, and I say it now. It's prison now. If it wasn't up in your face when Uncle John went missing, it should be up in your face now. Because they're treating these old people like they're in prison. As they're treating the rest of the public like they're fucking criminals. That either need to be fucking bankrupted in order to prop up, what, the government? And their faulty ways? You want to prop up the pension plan of the person that's got a fucking gun pointed to your face saying, "Don't breathe!" As your loved one's sitting up in that care home, God knows what's happening to them, with nobody to witness it, because they're running around accusing you of abusing them, when you just want to bring them home so that they can be happy and safe, live their life in peace, with love around them. This is a distorted reality, people. I'm gonna have to write it on somehow on a board, because I can rage on this after I do this. This video is gonna get too long, right? So after I say what I'm gonna say right now, I'm gonna upload it, because I can't keep saying the same shit over and over and over again, giving you guys a fucking headache with the same shit without me at least trying to maybe put it down on something as if I got time. But I think it might be easier for you to understand what I'm really trying to say, because I don't think people really fully understand the full ramifications as to what this government is doing in terms of that money grab and the laundering of money, as they're trafficking human beings. Okay? They're trafficking human beings, and they're conditioning you to not fight back with threats of fines, with threats of jail for talking to somebody. Like, what kind of bullshit is that? That's fucking total bullshit. Okay? Because what they tell you, you don't know if it's true. You don't, people. You don't. You don't. It's very easy to murder somebody. And because murder is so fucking popular these days, cops don't do shit about murder unless it's up in your face. You gotta be shot down in front of a fucking gas station before the police will even consider investigating it as a murder. Because they can't avoid it then, people. But if they can avoid it, they will fucking ignore it. Just like they ignored what happened to Uncle John. Just like what they did with Cherie. They ignored it. Uncle John and I, we had to really stop and think about it and talk about what the hell happened to Joan. And at the end of the fucking conversation, by the time we were done, we figured it out. They fucking killed her, people. They didn't want her anymore. They wanted the bed. Right? All the paperwork was fucking signed, sealed, and delivered. As soon as she died, her body was shipped off to fucking Eleanor. They left everything behind. That's why her stuff was still sitting in my yard, people. Okay? It used to be in the shed, but I cleaned out the shed last year. So I guess it just ended up there, and then I covered stuff up over it. But think about it. That woman shits in my yard 5 fucking years later. Like, what the hell? Well, more than that. She died in December of 2013. 7 years. It's been sitting in my yard. Because that's how much those people loved her. They left everything behind. The only thing that they took, like the Lucy's that they are, the devil worshippers that they are, that hide behind what? A Catholic fucking doctrine that fucking, in the end, puts them in a freaking dungeon. Right? They just took her body, they took her dead body, and they took her fucking money. And then they went after Uncle John and stole the inheritance that she had left him by not telling him for 14 months. By not telling him for 14 months that she had left him money. And because the fucking union is so corrupt, they let fucking Eleanor walk around the fucking halls, be the queen bitch that she is, paid off a few people here and there, you know, paid off some of those grunt workers to keep their mouths shut, maybe threatened them to send them back to fucking Cambodia or Fiji or wherever the hell they came from if they talked, right? And fucking tortured him in the last 3 years of his life before he died. They literally fucking tortured him. All for money. Okay? Go into my videos. You'll hear it. You think they're going to treat these people, these old people right now in the here and now, any more different? Hell no. They're not, people. These people are fucking ruthless, okay? They're fucking ruthless. They live for money. That's what they live for. They don't live for beauty. They don't live for the animals. They don't live for the environment. They live to hoard money. And to brag that they have money. Because that's where they put their self-worth, is in money. That's it. That's the only place they get it from. Right? Like, it just disturbs me so much that these old people are like suffering in silence by themselves with their families being turned away, threatened with fines because they want to go see grandpa, threatened with fines because they want to go see their husband, threatened with jail because they want to go see their brother, right? Do you hear what I'm saying? Yeah, people need to wake up. So I don't know. I'll see if I can get a piece of paper and put it on a, what is it called? A wipeout board. And maybe try and write a graph or something, I don't know. Something where it just really stands out. Because it's wearing me down. Because I know what's going on. Because it's already happened to my family more than once. Okay? These old people are being targeted for their assets. And I know I'm not the only person that thinks like that. Other people think like that too. Right? As a matter of fact, I had somebody mention that to me. We are being targeted. So maybe that person is an old person, right? And they know, they can sense it. Or maybe they're experiencing it themselves right now. Okay? This is bullshit. So what? What if I come down with a cold? Go away. What if I come down with a cold? Am I going to be criminalized for having a cold? Is the cops going to come in here and fucking haul my ass out of here and go put me at the Surrey Memorial fucking Hospital, hook me up to a fucking ventilator machine, play me off like I'm alive? Yeah, okay. Or are they just going to drive me off to some fucking ravine and throw me in the ditch and then go back to the fucking office and say, well, I don't know, somehow she jumped out of the car and she ran off into the bush and we couldn't find her. We really couldn't. They'll blame me for it, right? I jumped out of the car. Okay, I jumped out of the car. Sure. Right? Am I supposed to go to the hospital because I have a cold, people? Come on, think about it. If I can't breathe, well, I don't know. Well, you know, with these killer cigarettes now, I'd say it was the killer cigarettes before it was the fucking corona. Okay, if I can't breathe. Trust me. Because it's interesting how they brought out these killer fucking cigarettes. After all these years, I've been smoking 44 years, people, and I've been reduced down to killer cigarettes as they bring in some fucking phantom fucking, what is it called? Killer flu now, right? That they would dub as, oh, well, she died from the coronavirus. Even though it probably had something to do with their nasty fucking smokes that they sell now. Right? Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised because that's how these people operate. Right? They're killing off the young people for their organs. They're killing off people like me because, you know, I'm just a eater. Right? A breeder. Well, I can't breed anymore. Although, I don't have sex because I'm afraid if I do, I might still get pregnant at age 59. So, I just don't have sex. I don't want a chance getting pregnant. That's a psychological thing. See, my nose running. Right? I have a cold, people. Now I have a cold. I think so. So I guess over the next few days, we'll just see how that cold goes. Because tomorrow, more than likely, I'll be outside working with this cold. Right? So, because if I don't, I risk $15,000 fine from the city of Cherie with my landlady freaking out, telling me she's too old and she can't deal with it anymore. She wants me to move. Get the fuck out. Because I'm stressing her out. Yeah, okay, I'm stressing her out. Yeah. Right. So somebody else can move in, benefit from my hard work over the last 10 years, and get all the credit for it. Right? As I will be dubbed the raving lunatic for calling out the government for their shady practices of how they actually really do treat people. And your first clue should be that these people are being isolated with no witnesses as testament to how they're dying or being treated before they die. Okay? I don't say it lightly when I say the water with Joan was turned off. I've started to say that long before this crisis with the coronavirus came in, and I stand my ground. And if they turned off the water on Joan, you know they're turning off the water on other old people. Only there's not no Judy's and Uncle John's going in and visiting to kind of figure it out. You know what I mean? They've got these people all by themselves, isolated away, like these fucking care facilities, dirty secret. I can't stress it enough. I so can't stress it enough. You have to see past the smoke and mirrors. You have to see past the fucking rhetoric. You have to see the public union sector for what it really is. You have to understand that some of these people aren't even real fucking people anymore. They've either been cloned, okay, somehow, some way, through, genetic modified fucking splicing of this and splicing of that and born to be a certain kind of way. Or they're straight up fucking aliens that some people like to call shapeshifters, and the public has just been too freaking lulled with whatever we've been lulled with to really see these entities for what they are. And being that they harvest us like cattle, literally, young and old, that even puts them more into that alien category, okay? Or they're just straight up fucking psychopaths. Okay, like Eleanor. She's a straight up fucking psychopath. Only a psychopath would do what Eleanor did to her brother. Only a fucking psychopath would take the dead body and the money and run and leave everything else behind so it can sit in somebody's yard fucking how many years later? Where one day I'm going to put it up and somebody's going to want it. But they didn't want it because all they wanted was the money. They had to take the body in order to get the money. Otherwise, they would have just left the body behind. The only reason they took the body, Joan's body, was because they had to take the body in order to get the money. Just like what Uncle John. They couldn't get Uncle John's money until they took Uncle John's body. They have to take the body first. They took Shemay's body, right? They took Shemay's body out of here, turn around, fucking harvest it 7 hours later, and then embalmed it, and then just played fucking Frankenstein sirens on 100 people for 9 days. I'm going to upload this now because this is too long, and I'm going to try to avoid talking about this. You can see what I'm doing here, right? So I'm going to fill this up. I'm making a big ass, all of it, okay? This is great for vitamin C. Times are going to get rough, people. You're going to see what I'm going to do. Next video, we'll come back with that. Hold on.